Good evening, Facebook Live. Apostle Terrence Lyons of Ecclesia Ministries here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Coming to you on tonight, bringing you tonight's Bible study. Pray that everything is going well for everyone. Tonight is going to be a barn burner. Is going to be a barn burner. And you're probably wondering, well, how in the world is he saying that? It just got in. Well, if you will look at how things have went for today and different things going on with all the cell towers and all of that stuff. Good evening there, Pastor April. Good evening there, Prophetess Tanisha. Looking at everything that's went on today just by itself, but then to know all of the things that have tried to come at just this day. Had a power outage a little bit earlier here at the house. Didn't stay off long, but it stayed off long enough to throw a few things off, mess my timing up a little bit, but it's all right. We're going to light it up. Sure you see the question tonight of where is your fight? And that's one of the things that the Lord had spoken to me a little while ago, and I've been having to build up the fight in people. That's pretty much what's been taking place. Good evening there, sis. It's pretty much what's been taking place with the life of a lot of the people that I've been assisting here lately, as they've just been needing to know how to build up their fight. Good evening there, Overseer Melissa. They've been needing to know how to build up exactly how to defend who they are. Good evening there, Prophetess Misty. Been needing to know how to build up the fight that's within them. And when we get done between tonight and Saturday, you gonna know how to fight properly. This ain't about fighting with your hands. This is about knowing how to fight in the spirit, knowing how to fight against what opposes you. And the reason that this is going to be such an important piece of information is because there's three places that the fight has to be built in. And I'm going to show you that tonight. If you followed me any length of years, you've heard of these three places. We've talked about these three places because it's going to come from the passage in 1 Corinthians 13. But I have not expounded on it like I'm going to on tonight. Good evening there, my brother Leo. The way that I'm going to expound on 1 Corinthians 13 and verse 11 between tonight and Saturday is going to completely change your life. And yes, I can say it like that because when you truly get to what we're after, it's going to make all the sense in the world. So I want to start out tonight in 1 Samuel chapter 17, verses 22 through 32 is what we're going to look at initially. And then we're going to skip down to verses 45 and 47. So 1 Samuel chapter 17, verses 22 through 32 is what we're going to look at initially, and then we'll jump down to verses 45 through 47. The reason I want to kind of go here, this is dealing with David. Y'all know Lil Day Day. Lil Day Day will, come out here once in a while, but and under the right control, that's a good thing. So the littles that's still running around with you, you need your littles. And when I say your littles, I'm meaning there are things that God has programmed you to actually be able to sense. And the problem is some of you gotten so insensitive to being who you need to be that you've started to let a lot of stuff slide that you shouldn't let slide. Good evening there, Miss Delisa. You've let some things slide that you shouldn't let slide. And like I said, it stirs that little up in you. Like I said, we're gonna look at Lil Day Day. We're gonna look at David in his early years, and I want you to understand that as you begin to address those things that you actually feel, when you feel them, because again, nobody else is feeling what you feel. Nobody else, it doesn't even bother anybody else like it bothers you. So the problem is when everybody else is like, man, don't even worry about that. You've been letting it slide, but it wasn't meant for you to let it slide. You just needed to understand the fullness of what God wanted you to do with it. And the problem is it got your attention, but you didn't address why it got your attention. Oh, good evening there, cousin Michelle. So let's go on and dig into 1 Samuel 17, verses 22 through 32. And I promise tonight is going to shift you once we get into this. I probably ain't going to do right, so I'm going to go ahead and put that out there. Let me go ahead and give you a few I love yous. Put that out there. Let me go ahead and get all of those out the way, because once I get rolling, we're gonna roll for real. 1 Samuel 17 verses 22 through 32 says, "And David left his carriage in the hand of the keeper of the carriage and ran into the army and came and saluted his brethren. And as he talked with them, behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, out of the armies of the Philistines, and spake according to the same words, and David heard them." So in other words, he was already talking stuff to the army of the children of Israel, but they wasn't responding to it. So he kept talking stuff. And then David, Lil Day Day, rolls up on the scene and he hears him. So that's what this is where this picks up. It says, "And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him and were sore afraid." See, it's a lot of people scared of what you ready to engage. I ain't going to deal with that right now, but look at verse 25. It says, "The men of Israel said, Have you seen this man that is come up? Surely to defy Israel is he come up. And it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel." Now remember, this part of our series, we're talking about transitioning from money to kingdom. So this right here again is where some could get caught up in pursuing the money to fight Goliath. But David is not pursuing to fight Goliath about the money. That ain't what he's doing. He's finding out about it, but that's not what he's doing. He is just addressing, okay, when I'm done with this, what's going to be the payoff? But the thing that's catching his ear right now is you talking crazy to the army of the Most High God. I got a problem with that. So y'all type that in for me. I got a problem with that because this is what's going to make the difference. So he goes on in verse 26 and says, and David said to the men that stood by him, saying, what shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine and taketh away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine? That's the first thing that he's addressing. He's saying, all right, he ain't even like us. And y'all scared of him? He ain't even got the same promises that we got. And y'all scared of him. He does not, he's not even equipped like we're equipped. But y'all scared of him. Y'all know I done told y'all this time and time and time and time and time again. Quit being scared. Quit being scared. Because they ain't even got what you got in order to deal with what you need to deal with. So this is what I need you to catch. He goes on and he says, people, verse 27, people answered him after this manner, saying, so shall it be done to the man that killeth him. Verse 28, and Eliab, his eldest brother, heard when he spake unto the men, and Eliab's anger was killed against David. Now notice, all he did was hear David having a conversation. That's all he hears. Just hears a conversation, and now he trying to get mad at little brother. He trying to get upset with Lil Day Day. Lil Day Day he is just addressing and finding out, okay, what all is involved once I get to scrapping. See, that's what you have to find out in a lot of cases is what all is involved once I get to scrapping. See, because again, you might be in your prothesmios and somebody else just dealing with a chronos. You might be dealing with the exact moment as to why God placed you on this earth and getting ready to step into the fullness of why he put you here. So how you're seeing what you're seeing has a completely different bearing than somebody else who's just seeing another regular moment passing by. See, you got to get to the place to where you understand that your moment to shine ain't like everybody else's moment to shine. Your moment's going to stand out to you more than it will to anybody else once you're in it. Teach them lions. So when you see the moment that you're ready to step up while everybody else is cowering down, scared, won't have any unction to make the move, but you like, man, I just know this is what I'm supposed to do. Man, y'all crazy. Why are y'all holding back? Why are y'all afraid of this right here? Well, the reason they're afraid of it is because it's not their destiny moment. It's yours. See, y'all type that in for me. This is my moment. See, because this teaching, this tonight is going to be one that I know is going to break some of you so free and begin to allow you to walk in such confidence and strength about who you are that you will not look back after tonight. So watch what happens right here, because it goes on in verse 29 or 28, he says, Eliab, his eldest brother, heard when he spake unto the men, and Eliab's anger was kindled against David. And he said, why camest thou down hither? And with whom hast thou left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know thy pride and the naughtiness of thine heart, for thou art come down that thou mightest see the battle. Now, what he is getting at, see, I ain't finna do right. I done told y'all. So here he is. He bringing Eliab them and his brothers some Lunchables. he bringing them down some snacks, bringing them down something to eat, cause Daddy told me to bring this to you, and you trying to look at me crazy about how I am approaching what I'm approaching. I'm bringing you food down here because Daddy told me to bring you this. I'm now hearing what all of y'all are scared of. I'm just inquiring in the moment because I just walked up on it, and you trying to look at me sideways. Oh, so it's like that. Okay, so look at what happens here. Because he goes on, and he says in verse 29, and David said, what have I now done? Is there not a cause? Is that not a reason why I'm here? And I'm beginning to understand that my reason has a little more significance than yours does right now. See, that's what David's understanding. So watch verse 30, because this is the key right here. Look at verse 30. It says, and he turned from him toward another and spake after the same manner, and the people answered him again after the former manner. So he blows off Big Bro, tells Big Bro, look here, I ain't even finna let you talk crazy to me right now, because the way that you coming at me, when Daddy the one that sent me down here to bring you these Happy Meals, to bring you these Lunchables, to bring you this little bit to grub on, you talking crazy to me because I now see a giant, watch this, that I know I can defeat, but you scared of, and you talking crazy to me because I'm your little brother. Watch these next three verses. He says, and he turned from him toward another, spake after the same manner. People answered him again after the former manner. And when the words were heard which David spake, they rehearsed them before Saul, and he sent for him. Watch this, verse 32. David said to Saul, let no man's heart fail because of him. Thy servant will go, and fight with this Philistine. Remember the question tonight, where is your fight? See, all of the rest of the army, all of the rest of everything else that has been standing out there listening to Goliath talk crazy. Now David comes up, and once David gets there, watch this. David gets there and understands, man, I done sized him up. He's about the same size as the lion and the bear that I done took out. So I ain't even worried about this. He's already defeated in my eyes. This is what you got to understand. That's why you got to know where your fight is. You've already sized the situation up. Everybody else is scared of it. So they're looking at you and saying, man, you done lost your mind. You should be afraid like we're afraid. No, I ain't scared like you scared. So y'all type that in for me. I ain't scared like you scared. So here's the thing. Let me go ahead and give you this first point so that I can get stirring here. Our first point tonight is wherever covenant is not known is where the fear of a fight sets in. Wherever covenant is not known is where the fear of a fight sets in. See, that's why you got to find out where's your fight. What fight is it that you ain't scared of, whether you got somebody that's got your back or whether you don't? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We finna deal with something tonight. See, when you get to the place to where you don't care if anybody is there to have your back or not, you done found your fight. See, because when David goes up into this situation, his own family ain't even backing him up. Big brother is there and not even backing him up. Big brother is there, ain't even appreciative of his Happy Meals and not even backing him up. Not even telling him thank you for bringing the grub, nothing. I know your heart. I know that you just came down here to watch the battle. I know that you just came to where you leave your few sheep. Where did you leave your previous responsibilities? You need to go on back there and be taking care of them sheep. You need to go on back there and be taking care of your business around the house. Have you had people that come at you like that? When it was a moment that you felt like you were ready to truly step into what you were called and designed to be in this earth to be, and you couldn't even get family to back you up? You couldn't even get family to be like, you know what? I got your back, little bro. You ain't even got that. See, that's when you truly found where your fight is when it don't even matter. I don't care if family don't follow me. I don't care if mentor don't follow. I don't care who does not support this. Now, I ain't telling you to go out and be reckless about every single thing. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when you already see a victory before you even swing your first swing, you already know that right there, I can defeat. It looks impossible to everybody else, but to me, that ain't nothing but a small thing. I can handle this. And it's looking small to you. See, that's where you got to find out. Where's my fight? Where's the fight that I will fight that everybody else is scared to fight? And then step into it. And see, the key is you ain't even got to look for that. Your fight will find you. See, y'all type that in. My fight will find me. See, that's what's going to happen. The fight that's set up for you to step into your destiny is going to find you. All you got to do is follow the instructions of your father. Because once your father sends you to where you are doing something for him, and that's your sole focus. I'm going to take these Happy Meals to my brothers. I'm going to take these Lunchables to the folks that I'm designed to be feeding right now. Watch this. And then once you carry out that instruction, that's when your fight is going to find you. See, this is what you got to understand. Let's get ready for the second point. So for a second point, I want you to go to since we're in 1 Samuel, let's go to 1 Samuel 15, verses 1 through 13 first. And like, well, let's go to 45 and 47. We're going to go to 45 and 47 later because I got to show you something here first. in 1 Samuel 15. So in 1 Samuel 15, watch this. In 1 Samuel 15, verses 1 through 13, it says this. Excuse me. 1 Samuel 15, verse 1 through 13, says this. It says, Samuel also said unto Saul, the Lord sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people. That one hit me right there. See, I don't take lightly people who listen to me minister. I don't take lightly people who come to our church. I don't take lightly people who sow into our ministry. I don't take that lightly because I see it just like this right here says. It says, the Lord sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people. When somebody comes to me, when somebody tunes in to me teaching, I feel like the Lord sent them. I feel like the Lord sent you. That's the way I feel. Wholeheartedly. So when somebody takes the time to listen to us, whether it's a replay, whether it's live, whether it's whatever, I feel like the Lord sent you for me to help, which is why I take so seriously about what I say and how it gets said and the preparation that I do for the messages each and every week. So when it says, he sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel. Now therefore hearken thou unto the voice of the words of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he had wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt. Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have. Now watch what I am fixing to read right here. Utterly destroy all that they have and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass. Watch this. And Saul gathered the people together and numbered them in Telaim, 200,000 footmen and 10,000 men of Judah. And Saul came to a city of Amalek and laid wait in the valley. Watch this. And Saul said unto the Kenites, go, depart, get you down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For you showed kindness to all the children of Israel when they came up out of Egypt. So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites. And Saul smote the Amalekites from Avalia until thou comest to Shur. Watch what happens. That is over against Egypt. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive. Took the king of the Amalekites alive. And utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. But Saul, watch this, and the people spared Agag and the best of the sheep and of the oxen and of the fatlings and the lambs and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them. But everything that was vile and refuse, that they destroyed utterly. Then came the word of the Lord unto Samuel, saying, it repenteth me that I have set up Saul to be king, for he is turned back from following me, and hath not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried unto the Lord all night. And when Samuel arose early to meet Saul in the morning, it was told Samuel, saying, Saul came to Carmel, and behold, he set up a place, and is gone about, and passed on, and gone down to Gilgal. And Samuel came to Saul, and Saul said unto him, blessed be thou of the Lord. I have performed the commandment of the Lord. Now, he ain't performed no commandment because he told you to kill up everything. And you done left the king alive. You done left some lambs alive. You done left some sheep alive. You done left all of this other stuff that was, watch this, good in your sight, but clearly not good in God's sight, because I told you to wipe this completely out. Kill up everything here. And Saul's like, nah, that right there is good. No, Lord, I want to keep that ring that they gave me, even though you told me not to be engaged with them. Lord, I want to keep the gifts that they gave me, even though that ain't where I'm supposed to be. Lord, I still cut it all off. You need to get rid of all of it. Because watch this, if you don't get rid of it now, it's going to hinder your obedience later. Matter of fact, it's hindering your obedience now, but it's going to hinder it even worse later if you don't manage this properly. So this is what I need you to get, and this is what I need you to understand. See, Isaiah 54:17 is where it says, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. But every tongue that rises up against thee, thou shalt condemn. And a lot of people leave that part out, and you can't leave that part out, because the weapon being formed against you is not designed to prosper against you as long as you understand who placed you where you're at in the first place. See, this is what I got to get you to understand. So this is the second point. If you don't fight back with the king backing you, it's your loss to bear. If you don't fight back with the king backing you, it's your loss to bear. He's given clear instructions in verse 3 to go smite Amalek, utterly destroy all that they have. He didn't say keep nothing. He didn't say look and find what's good. He said utterly destroy everything. I don't want nothing from it. Wipe it all out. Get rid of all of it. Well, no, I can't throw that away. No, they was good to me. If he said go, you best to get to digging. You best to get some gone. Because if this is what he's explained to you to do, then what is set up for you is a hindrance that you don't want no part of if you're not going to be obedient to what he told you to do. This is why I got to get you to get this. Because, watch this. Again, if you don't fight back with the king backing you, it's your loss to bear. So what he's trying to establish in you is he's trying to establish a fight in you that won't worry about what's left after the fight. See, some of y'all are so worried about what's going to be left after the breakup. What's going to be left after I leave this job? What's going to be left after I leave this city? What's going to be left? Don't worry about what's left. Watch this. Just get right. Don't worry about what's left. Just get right. Make sure that you are doing the righteousness that you have been given to do. If he said let it all go, if he said get rid of all of it, let it all go. Get rid of all of it. Because watch this, what's set up is your ability to fight again later. See, however you follow the instructions during this fight is going to determine whether or not you have the strength to fight the next battle. And this is why I got to get you to see this, because I want you to go back to 1 Samuel 17, because now I want to show you verses 45 through 47. Because this right here is what's going to make a very big difference in what you encounter. 1 Samuel 17, verse 46 and 47. Watch this. So now David has gotten to the place to where he's engaging with Goliath. And this is what I need you to get. Sometimes y'all get so scared once it's time to fight and once you're into the fight that you forget the instructions that you were given about the fight. See, and this is why you got to understand this. Warriors, this is a free one that I'm fixing to tell you. Warriors never fight by emotion. They only fight by assignment. That's a free one for you. They never, ever fight by emotion. They only fight by assignment. That's why understanding what goes on once you're actually in the midst of a situation is crucial as to whether or not it comes out kingdom or it comes out by your emotions. So watch this. So verse 45 through 47, it says this. It says, Then said David to the Philistine, Thou comest to me, watch this, with a sword and with a spear and with a shield. But I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied. He said, I'm coming to you because you came against who gave me covenant to go by. So look at what else he says. Verse 46, he says, This day will the Lord deliver thee into mine hand, and I will smite thee and take thine head from thee, and I will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. Verse 47, and all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands. So now, as I get you ready for this third point, this is what I need for you to see. Because in 1 Corinthians 13, 1 Corinthians 13 and verse 11. Like I said, I know y'all know it. Just a passage of scripture that everybody can quote, because all I got to do is start it out. When I was a child. Everybody can run off the rest of it. I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. So watch this. So now I need you to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 11. Because I need for you to see this. I need for you to put your eyes on it for what I'm about to uncover for you. 1 Corinthians 13, verse 11 says this. It says, when I was a child, I ain't little Day no more. I ain't little T no more. Yeah, that's not who represents you on a regular basis. I didn't say completely get rid of him. I said that's not who represents you on a continual basis. You've manned up. You've womaned up now. You've grown up. You've become more stronger in who you're designed to be. And that's who represents you most of the time. But every once in a while, the little one will come out. But this is what I need for you to understand. It says, when I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. See, if you're still having to pray to get God to control your littles, you ain't manned up and womaned up yet. Because he's leaving that part up to us. He's leaving that part in our hands to know how to manage the littles. so, so, so this is what I need you to get. Third point is when covenant is known, there's three places that the fight has to be. When covenant is known, there's three places the fight has to be. The fight has to be in our speech. We need to be speaking the words of the covenant. It needs to be in our understanding. So we need to understand how whoever he's got us interacting with, we need to understand how to fight whatever ain't in agreement with him. And then the third place is in our thinking. We need to know and understand how to think through a situation that hasn't even played out yet. Ooh-wee. See, that's why some of you can't fight, because you ain't even seen what's opposing you defeated yet. Teach them, lions. You haven't seen being able to have victory over whatever's opposing you right now. You ain't been able to see having victory over them bills. You ain't been able to see having victory, watch this, over that dirty room, over that dirty apartment, over that dirty house. You haven't been able to see yourself victorious in being able to deal with that person that you ain't figured out how to get along with yet. You haven't seen yourself in a place of victory with that yet. And by not being able to see yourself in a place of victory, you can't even, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So, but you can't see yourself in that victorious state yet. So since you can't see yourself there, it ain't time for you to have it yet. You ain't got enough fight there yet. You haven't figured out how to get beyond the obstacles that would oppose you from getting there because you haven't even seen yourself there yet. So y'all type that in for me. It's time for me to see myself there. It's time for me to see myself there. See, that's what's been going on. God's been trying to get you to the place to where you get hungry enough to see yourself there. Get hungry enough to see yourself victorious. Get hungry enough to see yourself beyond the obstacles that you can't seem to. It's time for you to see yourself there. That's why you got to understand where your fight is. See, you need to understand, is my fight because I don't have the right words yet? Is my fight because I don't have the right understanding yet? Is my fight because I don't have the proper thinking yet? See, everything that opposes you is not from the enemy. Because a lot of what God sends to oppose you is so that he can build you up and strengthen you to get you where he sees you, and then eventually get you to where you see yourself where he sees you. See, it's time for you to see yourself where he sees you. That's what all of this, all of the turmoil you've been dealing with for the last 2 months. I'm talking to everybody right now. All of the turmoil that you've been encountering for the last 2 months has been him trying to get you to see yourself where he sees you. Let me go ahead and get you ready for point number 4. See, because this is what I need for you to understand. So for point number 4, it's time for us to go to the book of Esther. I'm about to show you something in the book of Esther to help you understand what time it is. See, because you got to understand that everything that God shows you is time-oriented. You've got to be at the right angle at the right time in order to be able to see yourself where he sees you. So he's been allowing all of those things to oppose you, all of those things to nudge at you and plug at you and do all of that stuff to you. All of them folk to get under your nerve, get under your skin, get on your last nerve. He allowed all of that to allow you to be able to see yourself where he sees you. So you got to be able to see yourself there. He watch this. So now let's go to the book of Esther. Let's first go to the book of Esther, chapter 8, and let's look at verse 1 through 16. Esther chapter 8, verses 1 through 16 says this. Watch this, because this is crucial. Because I'm about to show you about what time it is. It says, on that day did the king Ahasuerus give the house of Haman, the Jews' enemy, unto Esther the queen. And Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told what he was unto her. So I need for y'all to go ahead and type this in for me. It's already shifted. It's already shifted. But there's still some work to do. And that's the whole key. A lot of people experience the shift, but then don't know all of the work that needs to go with it. And the problem is that when you don't know the work that goes with the shift that has already happened, you then miss out on some things. So this is what I need for you to see. Verse 2, it says, the king took off his ring, which he had taken from Haman, gave it to Mordecai, and Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman. And Esther spake yet again before the king, fell down at his feet, and besought him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman the Agagite and his device that he had devised against the Jews. Wait a minute, he's dead. He's already been hung. I just gave you the ring. See, that's what's done messed some of you up. I gave her the ring. We done already committed to the relationship. I done already signed for the job. I have already moved into the new place. We've already moved into the other city. It's already shifted, but you still have got some stuff that is yet to come along with the shift. Watch this. So watch this. Look at what happens. In verse 4, it says, then the king held out the golden scepter toward Esther. So Esther arose, stood before the king, and said, if it please the king, and if I have found favor in his sight, and the thing seem right before the king, and I be pleasing in his eyes, let it be written to reverse the letters devised by Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, which he wrote to destroy the Jews which are in all the king's provinces. For how can I endure to see the evil that shall come unto my people, or how can I endure to see the destruction of my kindred? Watch this. Then King Ahasuerus, watch this right here, said unto Esther the queen and to Mordecai the Jew, behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman, and him they have hanged upon the gallows, because he laid his hand upon the Jews. Write ye also for the Jews, as it liketh you. in the king's name, and seal it with the king's ring. For the writing which is written in the king's name and sealed with the king's ring may no man reverse. Then were the king's scribes called at that time in the 3rd month. Now, for those of you that have been watching and following me since back in May, I told you about rewriting. Here's why I got to get you to understand, and this is why I wanted you to remember this. It says, at that time in the 3rd month, that is the month Sivan, on the 23rd day thereof, and it was written according to all that Mordecai commanded unto the Jews. And, watch this, to the lieutenants and the deputies and the rulers of the provinces which are from India unto Ethiopia, 127 provinces, unto every province according to the writing thereof, and unto the people after their language, and to the Jews according to their writing, and according to their language. And he wrote in the king Ahasuerus' name, and sealed it with the king's ring, and sent letters by post on horsebacks, and riders on mules, camels, and young dromedaries, wherein the king granted the Jews which were in every city to gather themselves together and to stand for their life, to destroy, to slay, and to cause to perish, watch this, all the power of the people and province that would assault them. So wait a minute, hold up. So it was set up that the Jews were supposed to be taken out on this day. But he set them up to rewrite it. So that was what we called that back in May. It was the rewrite. I told you, the rewrite. And there were people that were trying to question it. Should we do this? Is this something different? Look, you got to follow the instructions that you get in each moment. I did what God gave me to do at that time, and I told y'all to rewrite. Those of you that did, whatever is fighting against that right now, where's your fight? Because your fight is in the moment that it's time to reverse that. It is time for you to now begin walking in. If you ain't already walking in it, whatever you rewrote back at that time, it's time for you to be walking in it. It's time for you to step into that with the fullness of what you were designed to do. Now, I'm walking in mine. Been doing so since November. and what you got to understand. Uh-oh. Watch this. Watch this. All right. Hopefully y'all stuck through. Hopefully y'all still there. Hopefully y'all still here. Yeah. 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 Hopefully everything's cleaned up now. Yeah. Hopefully that's cleaned up now. Hopefully that's straightened out. Give everybody a moment to get back in. Oh, we gonna finish this one. Uh-huh. Yeah. So so yeah. This is what I want you to get, and this is what I want you to understand. In verse 9, when it talked about the scribes in the third month, I hope everybody's back. It looks like Sis is back. I hope Overseer Melissa's back. But this is what I want you to get. So right there in verse 9, when it says, then were the king's scribes called at that time in the third month, that is the month Sivan, on the 23rd day thereof. And it was written according to all that Mordecai commanded. Watch this. Unto the Jews, unto the lieutenants, unto the deputies, the rulers of the provinces, which are from India unto Ethiopia, 127 provinces, unto every province, according to the writing thereof, and unto every people, watch this, after their language, and to the Jews according to their writing, and according to their language. And he wrote to King Ahasuerus, watch this, and he wrote in King Ahasuerus' name, and sealed it with the king's ring, and sent letters by post on horseback, and riders on mules, camels, and young dromedaries, wherein the king granted the Jews which were in every city to gather themselves together, watch this, and stand for their life. He said, it's time for you to fight back. So I need for y'all to understand it. It's time for you to fight back. It's time for you to fight back against what has been hindering you from getting what you rewrote back in May. Time for you to fight back against everything that's been hindering that. Because look at what it says. It goes on, and it says, and to stand for their life, to destroy, to slay, and to cause to perish all the power of the people and province, watch this, that would assault them, both little ones and women, and to take the spoil of them for a prey. Upon one day in all the provinces of King Ahasuerus, namely upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month Adar. Guess what today is? The 13th day of the 12th month. That's why I said it's time for you to fight. Some of you have said that you felt the shift, you felt the refreshing, you felt the strength, you felt all of those things because it's time for you to fight. It's time for you to now begin to address those words that have been spoken against you. It's time for you to address those things that have been coming at you. It's time for you to address standing against those things with, watch this, with your speech, with your understanding, and with your thinking. It's up to you to begin to impose your will on everything that opposes you. Teach them lions. It's time for you to impose your will on everything that opposes against you. See, this is why you got to understand this, because it goes on, and because again, we're looking at down through verse 16. So watch what else happens here. So he goes on and he tells them, he says, in verse 13, the copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, and that the Jews should be ready against that day, to avenge themselves on their enemies. See, your enemy has gotten so comfortable disrespecting you that you haven't understood how to even fight back. Today is your day. That's what it's been building up to. Is guys been like, okay, yeah, you've been keeping quiet. Yeah, I ain't had you say nothing. Yeah, I ain't had you do nothing. Yeah, I ain't had you to respond. Yeah, I ain't had you text back. Yeah, I ain't had you do nothing. When they holler at you again sideways, yeah, it's time. It's time for you to manifest Isaiah 54:17. It's time for you to manifest Esther chapter 8. See, this is why you got to understand this. Because he goes on in verse 14 through 16 is where he says, watch this. So the posts that rode upon the mules, the posts that rode upon the mules and camels went out, being hastened and pressed on by the king's commandment, and the decree was given at Shushan's the palace. Watch this. And Mordecai went out from the presence of the king in royal apparel of blue and white, and with a great crown of gold, and with a garment of fine linen, and purple. And the city of Shushan rejoiced and was glad. The Jews had light and gladness and joy, and honor. See, it's time for you to walk in the honor that has been due you. So y'all type it in for me. It's honor time for me. Yeah, it's honor time for you. See, the reason you got to find your fight is because, watch this, because until, our fourth point is this, until you fully find the fight for yourself, you're not ready for God's kingdom. See, he's been setting all of this up. He's been setting everything up in such a way that all that you have had to function by, he meant for you to hold your peace the amount of time he had you hold your peace. Watch this, because that was giving your enemies a space to repent. If they ain't repented and they come back at you sideways, you pin their behind to the wall. You give them the words that he gives you to give them. You don't hold back on a thing. Don't you dare pull a Saul right now. Don't you dare hold back when he's told you, okay, now I had you stay quiet all of that time. I had you to hold your peace. I told you not to give a response. I told you all of those things, and you followed my instructions. Now, I'm telling you to wipe all of that mess clean. I got to clean up what I messed up. Started my life over again. See, you got to get to the place to where when they come at you like that again, you now have the authority because you gave them time to clean that up. And now that they done came, and you're like, all right, so you still coming at me with that same craziness that you used to come at me with. Now, I got the right to clean this up. Every tongue that rises against me, I shall condemn. I don't care who it's from. That's families. That's booze, schmooze, and boogaloos. It's time to clean that up. Because it's time for that fight that he means for you to function by to be released as we go on into this month of governmental order. This is why I need for you to get this. Let me give you this 5th and 6th point. Since the enemy want to try to come at me, yeah, I'm finna go on and knock this out completely out. So watch this. So now, let's get ready for point number 5. So for point number 5, let's go to Isaiah 55, verses 8 through 12, because I need you to see something. See, what a lot of people don't understand and don't realize is even so what happens in the 9th chapter of the book of Esther in verses 1 and 2. I'm going to read those, and then, like I said, I'm going to get you ready for Isaiah 55, verses 8 through 12, because it says, now in the 12th month, that is in the month Adar, on the 13th day of the same, when the king's commandment and his decree drew near to be put in execution, in the day that the enemies of the Jews hoped to have power over them, though it was turned to the contrary, that the Jews had rule over them that hated them. The Jews gathered themselves together in their cities throughout all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus to lay hand on such as sought their hurt. So you coming at me to hurt me? You coming at me sideways? You coming at me to slander me? You coming at me to try to keep coming at me like you used to come at me? No, sir. The tide has turned. I will now pin your behind to the wall. I will now give you the truth of everything that I've been holding back. I will now make sure that you get a crystal clear understanding that from this day forward, don't come at me like this no more. Because from this day forward, this is the version of me you're going to get. From this day forward, this is the fight that you're going to get every time you try to come at me sideways. Are we clear? Because if not, I got some Windex to shine it up and make it clear for you. See, this is why I want you to get that. Because in Isaiah 55, this is the key. This is the key, because I'm gonna keep that Windex in my pocket. I'm gonna clean it up for you. I'm gonna clear it up for you. You come at me sideways, just be ready, because this is what I want you to get. In Isaiah 55, verses 8 through 12, he says this, because it's right here again. I just want to make sure that we get everything we're supposed to get tonight, because this 5th point, it's gonna bless you. Isaiah 55, watch this, verses 8 through 12, says this. Isaiah 55, verses 8 through 12. He says, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. Now let me let me watch this. Let me make crystal clear what he's trying to say to you right here, right now. He's not saying you can't have his thoughts. He's just saying there is a difference between how you think about the things I put in front of you and how I think about the things that I put in front of you. That's why you see some of the times when he's addressing the prophets, he asks them, what seest thou? He's asking them, hey, what do you see right now? And then once he says, he'll say, thou seest well, and then go on. It's not saying right here that you can't see you can't have the thoughts that he has. He's just showing there is a difference in how I approach this than how you initially look at it. So he goes on in verse 9. He says, for as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. That's why Jesus told us to pray the way he told us to pray. He said, when you pray, say, our Father who art in heaven. That's what he says right here. As the heavens are higher than the earth, he says, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in and on earth as it is in heaven. He's saying, give me the same thought about this that you have about this. Teach them lions. He said, give me the same thought about this that you have about this. This is why I need you to see that. Because he goes on and he says, for as the rain cometh down and the snow from heaven and returneth not thither. What he's saying is the rain and the snow do not return back to the heavens in the same form by which they fell in the first place. See, this is what you got to understand about this. I told y'all, we lighten this one up tonight. This is what I got to get you to understand. So when you're asking him to give you the same thought about this, whatever this is, relationship, finances, health, it doesn't matter what it is. Give me the same thoughts about this that you have about this. Watch this, for me. For me. This is why you got to get that. Because he goes on and he says, for as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. For as the rain cometh down and snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, watch this, but watereth the earth. He's saying, I'm trying to add something to where you're at that you have no control over. You have no say-so in how the rain falls. And if you do, the only say-so you usually have is that it don't. See, because when Elijah says that it ain't going to rain until I say so, God gave him that authority. That's why it didn't rain. So when it doesn't rain, he's saying the only thing I'm going to give you the okay to do is to stop it until it's time for me to start it again. So the only reason it stopped is because you was in agreement with me. You said what I said. So it ain't a I said what I said here. It's I said what he said. I said what he said. That's why I got what he said. See, when you say what he said, that's why you get what he said. The problem is some of you have not been saying, because again, when I was a child, I spake as a child. See, you are speaking as one who does not know what he said. And as long as you keep speaking as one who does not know what he said, then you're not going to get what he said. Because your speech, your understanding, and your thinking have to match. That's why I'm showing you this right here about the thoughts. Look at what else he says. He says, watch this. As the rain cometh down, and snow from heaven, returneth not thither, but watereth the earth, and maketh it bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower, and bread to the eater. Watch this. So shall my word. There's something again associated with speech. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. Watch this. It shall not return unto me void. How does it return back to him? He's waiting on you to speak it back to him. Until you're able to speak it back to him, that's why he says, come, let us reason together. Though your sins may be scarlet, I will make them as white as snow. He's saying, let us reason together. If you be willing and obedient, you'll eat the good of the land. He's saying, if you'll speak back to me, if you know what I have promised you and you believe what I told you, speak it back to me. And when you speak it back to me, it shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish what I sent it out to do for you, because you're the one that believes it. Look at what he says. But it shall accomplish that which I please. Watch this. Shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. Now watch verse 12, because 12 is icing on the cake, and that's why I'm going to have to give you the fifth point that goes with it. It says, for you shall go out with joy. Y'all remember what I taught y'all about the kingdom. The kingdom of God is righteousness, peace, and joy in the Holy Ghost. That's Romans 14:17. Look at what he says. He says, for you shall go out with joy and be led forth, with peace. Not chaos, not turmoil, not question, not unsurety, not fear. Peace. He said, I want to give you joy and peace. Just like he says in, watch this. The mountains and the hills shall break forth before you into singing, and all the trees of the field shall clap their hands. Here's my fifth point. So my fifth point is this. Anything that is aligned with the covenant of God is where your fight needs to be. Anything aligned with the covenant of God is where your fight needs to be. See, anything that's said against God's covenant, I need y'all to type this in for me. Them fighting words. Anytime anything is said against the covenant of God, them fighting words. Either your speech should fight it, your understanding should fight it, and your thinking should fight it. So soon as you hear it, as soon as it does not match what God said, them fighting words. So I got to speak back. Every tongue that rises against thee, thou shalt condemn. When you say something opposing the covenant of God to me, expect for me to respond back with the covenant. Because he said, his word shall not return unto him void, but it shall accomplish what he sent it out to do. So when you say anything against covenant to me, expect to hear covenant back, because them is fighting words. Soon as you say something against covenant, them fighting words to me. We finna square up right here, right now. Soon as they come out of your mouth, and soon as my spirit says, that don't match what God said. I don't care if you're a doctor. I got witnesses that have watched me say exactly what needed to be said to a doctor. Because when you try to tell me, no, these statistics right here tell us what your outcome is. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No. I ain't negating your statistics, and that might have happened with all of them folk, but I'm part of his chosen. I'm a covenant person. So no, the Most High God is who has the last say so about me. I thank you for your input. I thank you for identifying what's wrong. But we ain't fixing to rest on your statistics. We ain't fixing to rest on all of your other outcomes, because I ain't your other folk. I ain't them. I'm me. And I know he chose me for such a time as this. So when you speak something that opposes his covenant and you try to speak that against me, them fighting words. Them fighting words. And I ain't going to physically fight you. I'm going to come back with words that are going to overcome the words that you spoke to me. And then once I begin to come into agreement with what he said, then we all fixing to see what he said. See, right now, you the only one that see it. That's why you got to speak it. That's why you got, when them fighting words get spoken to you, that's why David responded the way that he responded. He said, "Y'all, you speaking against the army of the living God. You speaking against the armies of Israel. No, I'm not fixing to let you get away with saying that." See, we in this point now that you can't just be letting folk get away with saying that stuff to you. Oh, you ain't no good. No, don't let them say that to you. Watch this. So you don't say that to yourself either. Quit misaligning yourself. Quit speaking against what God spoke over you. That's where your fight is. That's why you got to understand. Your fight. Let me go and get this 6 point, because watch this. Calm yourself down. All right. So now, for the 6 point, let's go to the book of Numbers, chapter 13, verses 25 through 30. Numbers, chapter 13, verses 25 through 30. Then this is our last point. I thank y'all for sticking with me tonight, but I told y'all this was a barn burner. I told y'all I was going to give you some clarity. See, they had to kick us off, and then we had to start back up. But little did they know that's to their disadvantage, not mine. That's to their disadvantage, not ours. Because now we just get a little more time with a few more words, with a little more power. That's just going to keep on going. So in the book of Numbers, chapter 13, verses 25 through 30, says this. Numbers, chapter 13, verses 25 through 30, says this. Says, and they returned from the searching of the land after 40 days. And they went and came to Moses and to Aaron and to all the congregation of the children of Israel unto the wilderness of Paran to Kadesh, and brought back, word unto them. Speech, understanding, thinking. Speech, understanding, thinking. They brought back word. They brought back speech. Look at what else happens. It says, brought back word unto them and to all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. And they told him and said, we came unto the land whither thou sentest us, and surely it floweth with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it. So they got evidence and they got word. Watch what happens though. It says, nevertheless, the people be strong and dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and by the coast of Jordan. So what they're doing is they're giving a detailed account of exactly where all of their opposition is, which is good. That's showing that their thinking is activated. They now have an assessment of everything that will oppose them. That's what helps you with your thinking. Your thinking is so that you can think it through, get an assessment of what will be, okay, if I get this car, then it's going to cost me this for the maintenance. It's going to cost me this for the payment. It's going to cost me this for the, okay, you've been able to assess all of that. You see everything that opposes you. But if the Lord told you, okay, now that you know all of that, and I told you to get this, then you go get that. Okay? You've assessed it for the house. You've assessed it, for the relationship. You've assessed it, for your health. You've assessed everything that is opposing you. Now it's time for you to do one more thing. Let's check your agreement. Look at verse 30. And Caleb stilled the people before Moses and said, let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. He wasn't just saying that because he thought he was all that in a bag of chips. He was saying that because he agreed with what God said about it. He said, I've given you this land. I've already set this forth for you. That's why I said you got to see yourself there. That's why I told you that earlier. You got to see yourself there. And when you see yourself there, now you're coming into agreement with what was spoken. Watch this. No matter what other words were spoken against you. Teach them lions. So this brings us to our last point. And our last point is this. When covenant is known and believed in, fight settles in for the known and the unknown. When covenant is known and believed in, fight settles in for the known and the unknown. See, that's why I was digging to get to that point right there. See, when you trust in the covenant, the conditions don't matter. When you trust in the covenant, the conditions don't matter. You're still going to see yourself there. You're still going to see yourself walking in and functioning by whatever he told you was going to happen. He said what he said. And now I'm saying what he said. And now I'm going to see what he said because he said what he said. So our first point was where covenant is not known is where the fear of the fight sets in. Our second point was if you don't fight back with the king backing you to fight, it's your loss to bear. Third point is when covenant is known, there's three places that the fight has to be: your speech, your understanding, and your thinking. Fourth point, until you fully find the fight for yourself, you're not ready for God's kingdom. Fifth point, when, my gosh, anything aligned with the covenant of God is where your fight needs to be. And that's where we put in the whole thing of them fighting words. Because everything that is said against the covenant, them fighting words. And then our last point was when covenant is known and believed in, fight settles in for the known and the unknown. See, when you see yourself there, that's where your fight comes from. Because the fight is to get you to what you see before you get there. See, kingdom is designed And see, the problem is, and that's what can begin to tell you when you're allowing money to determine whether or not your outcome happens or not. See, because when you allow money to do it, you'll say, well, I ain't got the money to do that. So you lose your fight. Now you ain't got no fight for the circumstance. You ain't got no fight for the situation because you don't feel like you've got the money for it. But when you transition from money to kingdom, that's when you begin to go by, this is what the Lord said. He's going to make sure the money comes. It ain't my job to worry about the money. He said, my God shall supply all your need according to his riches and glory by Christ Jesus. He's not supplying that by your bank account. He's not supplying that by who sows and don't sow into you. He's not supplying that by whose favor you have here in the earth. He's not supplying that by who you know and who you don't know. He's supplying that according to his covenant, according to his kingdom, by his standard. So if you will fall into agreement with what he said, now you got fight to overcome whatever you don't have. Because you then understand, I ain't got to have everything. David did not have a sword when he fought Goliath and was initially fighting Goliath, but yet said, I'm going to cut your head off. He says he's going to cut his head off knowing that he has no sword. So I need for you to understand as we close this down tonight, because I'm feeling this one. But as we close this down tonight, you got to understand there are things that he's waiting on you to speak because of what he's promised, not because you see or don't see that you have it. See, he's waiting to hear what you're saying because that's what's letting him know whether or not you believe what he did say. See, when what you're saying doesn't match what he did say, that's what lets him know either your understanding or your thinking or your speech ain't there yet. So you ain't even ready to put away childish things because you don't have the speech to do it, or you don't have the understanding to do it, or you don't have the thinking to do it. Because 1 Corinthians 13 and verse 11 says, when I was a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child. See, understanding requires for you to have comprehension of communication from someone else. Comprehension of communication from him. Comprehension of communication from a spouse. Comprehension of communication from someone you just met. Comprehension of communication is where understanding is required. In all thy getting, wisdom is the principal thing. In all thy getting, get understanding. So when another person is involved, make sure that you get understanding. When it's you and God, make sure that you get understanding. Because once you get that understanding, then that's what's going to help determine how your speech continually happens. And then that's what's going to help how you think. That's why, as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Because I got understanding. Whatever my understanding level is on, that's what my thinking level is going to be on. Teach them lions. I got to cut this off. Saturday morning, 10:30 a.m., Exclusive Ecclesia. If you have not become a part of Exclusive Ecclesia, all you got to do, inbox me, type exclusive, and I'll send you an invite. You get to become a part of Exclusive. That's it. If somebody invited you to listen in to this tonight, chances are they are already a part of exclusive ecclesia. If they're already a part of exclusive ecclesia, just tell them, hey, add me to exclusive. But whatever you do, don't miss Saturday. After you done got this much of it, don't miss Saturday, because Saturday is the icing on the cake. That's what's going to put all of this together. But I had to get this as the foundation of it. I had to get your fight ready first. I had to get your fight in place. See, because Saturday we're going to talk about the lion and the lamb that's in you. See, the problem is you've been trying to function either only by the lion or only by the lamb, and you ain't figured out how to balance that out so that it walks you into what you've been promised. I'm trying to cut this thing off. But just don't miss Saturday, because it goes directly in line with this. We are still looking at transitioning from money to kingdom. I love all of you. I appreciate all of you. Thank y'all for sticking with me. Y'all have a blessed rest of the evening. Peace.